Welcome to the Sponsored Rider Club podcast, your guide to motorsports sponsorship. Here's your host, Josh Weesey.
Hey, welcome to the fourth installment of the Sponsored Rider Club podcast live experience. We had Sara Price on the show April 16th. We went live on Facebook, and people were able to come on, ask questions, and she basically brought us up to speed on the things that she's been doing over the past year. So we talked about Hoonigans a little bit. We talked about Baja, tons of good stuff. And then we did Q&A. So there's questions that people asked about sponsorship, and there's things that I asked about sponsorship as well to better understand, where she's been at and what some of her recommendations are. So definitely pay attention. Sara Price has just been absolutely on fire. If you're getting value out of the show, I really encourage you to leave some feedback and subscribe. So if you could go over to iTunes and leave a rating and review, that would be awesome. I'm running a giveaway contest right now. So basically, if you leave a review on iTunes, put hashtag swag on there. After I get 20 reviews, I will go through and select a winner and send over some swag. Whatever podcast player you use, it would be awesome if you subscribe. That way you don't miss upcoming guests. So we've got Corey Davis lined up. We've got Blair Morgan, absolute legend, lined up, and then Brett Q. So phenomenal guests coming up in the very near future. April 23rd is going to actually feature George Hamill live on Facebook as well. He was previously on episode 23, so tons of good advice coming, tons of good advice that we've already delivered, so check that out. Now this episode was brought to you by GSP XTV Axles. Super excited to have them come on board. If you want to know more about them, you can actually go through one of their distributors, which is Bold Racing, who's been sponsoring the show for a long time. But without further ado, I'm going to let you get into the live version of the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the fourth installment of the Sponsored Rider Club podcast live experience. Excited to have you all on today. Well, this is going to be an exciting one. Really pumped for this one. Way back on episode 12 of the podcast, we had Sara Price on. It's been a long time since then. We're about to release episode 71 tomorrow. And just so much has happened. And guess what? Way more has happened to Sara Price than's happened to me or the show. So we're going to bring her on here in a little bit and catch up on all the cool things she's been doing. Looks like we got Kevin Spangler on as well. Welcome back. Shelby Mahan, you're probably coming on here taking notes because I'm trying to get you on this show in the future. Sarah's on too. So this is going to be good stuff. I want to go over a couple things though with everybody before we kind of get into the episode. One, I just want to remind everybody what the purpose of the podcast is. The intent is whether you are a UTV racer, a trophy truck driver, a backcountry snowmobiler, ATV racer, doesn't matter. I want you to be able to learn something from this show, learn something from the guests that come on here, and make a difference in your sponsorship program. What up, Kevin? Hey, Samantha Weesey is watching. Hello, that's my wife. She's probably going to get off really quickly. Because she knows that I'm watching her right now. But so other quick things about this show. Pretty excited about this specific one because we brought on our first live sponsor, and that is GSP XTV Axles. Now, for people who don't know this, my day job, I am an engineering manager in a manufacturing facility, so I kind of geek out on like how things are made sometimes. And if you go through and read the About Us page on GSP XTV and you know anything about manufacturing, you know that they have a pretty good idea of how to make axles. They've been doing this for like 30 years. Bold Racing, which representing them today. So Bold Racing, they've been running their axles for a while and having really good feedback. If you want to get some of these axles, head over to the Bold Racing page, shoot them a message. They're a dealer. They can get you connected with that. If you're listening right now, feel free to add other people to this, share the video feed, like, comment as much as possible. There will be a Q&A a little bit later, and at that point, you can, ask questions, and we'll go through and like pick out certain ones. But you can honestly ask the questions anywhere throughout, and I can scroll back through and pick the questions that kind of stood out. So that's the best way to connect with Sara and also get your questions answered. All right, so in a minute, I am going to bring Sara on. But just before that, I just want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, or if you're listening to the replay, that's awesome. Or this is also going to be available on audio for the podcast. So if you're listening there, fantastic. Really appreciate it. If you wanted to head over to iTunes, leave a rating or review for the show, that's also phenomenal. Drives a lot of exposure for the show. All right. Well, what I'm going to do now is bring Sara on the call. Oh, it's working too. She's coming on. There she is. Hey,
guys.
How's it going? How's it going?
It's going real good. It's been
awesome.
A busy few days.
Yeah, definitely. So where are you at right now?
I'm actually home right now. I just got back from the Baja 250 and then was at Long Beach Grand Prix all weekend. So it's a never ending, just kind of going one place to the next, chasing this whole dream of racing.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's that right behind you there? It's I can't quite tell. Yeah, right behind you.
That's my X Games medal from 2010 from
awesome.
Super X. Yeah, and then
this is my medal. Oh wait, I don't have any medals. Sorry, but.
And then I actually got burnt one time in the desert, and the gas can burnt down like that, and so I just thought.
That's a gas can.
Yeah, it's a gas can.
Good memory.
There's some trophies from over the years.
That is awesome. Yeah, I'll have to try to make a trophy or something so I have something to show for it. I think I have
I'll put my welding skills that really aren't good to the test, and I'll make you a cool trophy.
Perfect. Well, it looks like we got some other folks coming on too. Looks like Chris is on. So hey, Chris, thanks for joining. Feel free, anybody watching right now, add your friends, leave comments, and anytime throughout, ask questions. We probably won't get to the Q&A until the end, but feel free to just start shooting them in here, and I can go back through and grab those questions later. Well, Sara, though, there's a reason why you're here, and you have been doing so much. I mean, even since last time you and I talked, well, you were on episode 12 of the show, and then we talked for 5 minutes at the Vegas to Reno race. And since then, though, there's just been so many other things you've been doing. So why don't you kind of walk us through some updates?
Yeah, honestly, my life has been pretty unreal lately, and I'm super beyond grateful for all the opportunities that have arose from it all. But this last year, I won the Hoonigans all-female driver search, and so I got to race a rally car for the first time for Factory Fiat in their 124 Spider. And this little machine, it's pretty intense, but we got to do a 20-mile hill climb. We got to do Mount Washington in New Hampshire, and it was pretty gnarly for me since it was on street, and I'm a dirt girl, so It was quite the experience. And soon after that, I got a ride in the trophy truck with RPM Off-Road, and it's been a dream come true to step into off-road machine like the trophy truck, and it's unreal. And then now this year I am doing the whole Score International series in Baja, and I absolutely I'm so stoked. We just finished the 250. It didn't go as planned. We're hoping for a podium spot or something, but unfortunately problems happen, especially when you're down in Baja. Just things happen, and we had some electrical issues that we fought the whole time, but me and Erica never gave up, and we ended up making it to the finish line in 15 hours instead of probably 6 or 7 that we should have. But we had a good time, and I can't wait for the 500.
So you didn't spend any time broke down out in the middle of the desert overnight this time, right?
No, we didn't go back to our Africa time, thank you.
Yeah.
But we definitely we got our first Baja experience to the ultimate top level of what you could expect to not want to happen in Baja your first time.
Perfect. Well, hey, it looks like we got Nate Dizzle's on now. Jimmy Mora's on. Hey, Jimmy, check it out, buddy.
Hi, guys.
It looks like Gabriel's on as well. So that's great, getting some people on here. Well, you know what? I want to dig more into the Hoonigan experience because it was a pretty popular thing when it was happening. There was a lot of really awesome women from motorsports that were in this contest. So maybe walk us through that whole experience.
Oh man, it was pretty cool. So basically, they had a video submission. This is how it all gets started. And I was like, I'm not doing much right now. Might as well just send in a video. And so I did, and I got chosen as one of the top 6 to go ahead and enter this competition. And so then I ended up meeting the other 6 contestants at Hoonigans Donut Garage, and it was pretty cool. They had a female from almost every genre of racing. So they had me as the off-road girl. They had Rathina, a good friend of mine now, and she was a drifter.
And Rathina Gomer was on episode 38 of this show.
Oh, I love her. Rathina is the best. So shout out to you, Rathina.
Yeah.
Then you had Sally. It was really cool. You had just a bunch of awesome girls that supported each other and come from different walks of life in racing, and we all kind of got put to the test, but we had a good time doing it, and that's, I think, what Hoonigan's about, is just going out there, doing your best, just having a good time. Like, I fell off the dock on a Razor cart, which, we're just having a good time and pushing the limits a little bit, so.
What do you mean fell off? You, slid off the edge of the dock?
Yeah, so if you go to the first episode, those little Razors that are, kids ride, and they're a little bit wild. And so we were doing races in those, all of us girls, and I went too close to the edge just trying to keep it pinned, and I fell off. I ended up going over, and it was pretty gnarly. I'm lucky I didn't get hurt. And I was like, thank you. At least I could have been doing something a little gnarlier if I do get hurt.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Looks like we got a few more people coming on, too. So Brett Barnett's on, Dan, Brian, Kurt, Travis is on. So Travis is also on the first version of this live episode, too. So good stuff.
Thanks, Robert. See those comments. Pretty cool.
You know what? The Baja thing, I mean, you've got a lot more to go in the Baja world in the Score Series, but what does it take to prep for something like that?
Man, pre-running, that's number one. I recently, of course, we're with Geyser Brothers Performance, and they prep our trucks, they build them, and they have a phenomenal team. We're with RPM Off-Road, who, obviously has earned their stripes in off-road and in desert racing. So, we have Abdali on the team. He's a past champion. You have Justin Matney. He's also a past champion. Clyde Stacy. It's just, I'm surrounded by some of the most top-notch people I could ever hope for to go down to Baja and conquer it. And we put over, for the 250, which was actually 320 miles, not 250, we ended up pre-running over 700 miles. And I did 650 in my Polaris Razor, and then almost 100 in the pre-runner with Justin. But yeah, it comes down to pre-running, knowing that course, just visualizing as much of it as you can, and getting your notes and having them on cue.
Right. So what about from a sponsor perspective? I mean, that's a lot of investment, right? From all the things that are going to break, guaranteed. There's so much stuff that's going to break. There's so much stuff to prep. And then once you're done, you got to do a big tear down and basically rebuild everything again. I mean, what does it take to get sponsors prep for that?
Yeah, Baja's that's a big commitment. And I do have to say, though, being down in Mexico compared to the United States, Mexico is amazing because the fan base down there, they are so enthusiastic. I've never experienced the overwhelmingness going through contingency as me and Erica did in that truck. First, they see the orange and they see us, and they're kind of like, well, what? The girls are here, and they just go completely nuts. And, we finished at 1:30 in the morning, and there was fans there at the finish line waiting for us, and it was a really cool feeling. And something like that, I feel like, is you get your ROI on sponsorship because you have people seeing you, people wanting to see you, and people enthusiastic about representing who you represent and who helps you with your sponsorships or the people that support you. But yeah, you got to get creative with it. And I think Baja is a great key, especially with all the media they've stepped up with recently too. Score is really pushing to put it out there in the mainstream media, and it's pretty awesome to see it grow.
Definitely. Looks like we got a few more folks jumping on to Jimmy Moore Jr. is on here, so apparently he likes the Bull Racing shirt. Not too surprised. But Jimmy Moore Sr., though, he was suggesting that you might need yourself a Bold Racing shirt. That's just, I don't know. He's the one that put it out there, not me. Well, what I want to remind people to do is, while they're listening, if you have a question that you want Sara to answer, start typing it in right now, because in a couple minutes we're going to start going through those. So put your question out there and we'll get to it.
I see Andrew right there. He's talking about Nora. And we're actually talking about possibly going down there for Nora with RPM. I don't know if I'll be driving yet, but we're thinking about it.
Oh, there you go. Okay. just a 1,000-mile race, no big deal.
Yeah.
Beginner stuff. Like I've never even done a race.
I haven't been to Nora, but I heard it's just a good time. Like, the legends come out for that one, that's for sure.
Right. Well, hey, I think we got a very important question that just popped up from Travis. Does James cry when you beat him? That's James Hill that he's referring to. So, I'll let you take that one.
Oh, man. Only raced against each other one time, and he had some issues with his car. So he was a trooper about it, but he doesn't like racing against me.
Yeah, well, I always wonder with like Kristen and Wayne Matlock, how they do. And now the Romos, like, Sierra Romo and her dad, and they're running the same series now. Yeah, so it's going to be fierce.
Yeah, it's pretty cool actually. Kristen and Wayne Matlock at the last 250, they finished within seconds of each other, and they passed us down in the lake bed when we were pulled over, broken down, rewiring some stuff on the truck, and I seen her come through, and she's all waving at me, and she was like, "Oh man, I'm so sad to see you guys." I was like, "Yeah, but you were right behind Wayne. Like, were you guys just battling out?" She goes, "Yeah, one time we were just riding side by side with each other." And man, they have their razors sure dialed and figured out, and they're incredible people and drivers.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, it looks like someone else remembered your African desert breakdown overnight. So Dan did. That's awesome. Look at another question. When are you coming back down under?
Oh, yeah. I have some of my Australian friends and fans on there, I see. Mm-hmm. I have no plans as of right now, but there's a lot of opportunity in Australia. So with the stadium trucks, I never know when I'm going to hop back in one of those. And it's always kind of, play it by day with that. But there's quite some good racing going on in Australia. I did the side-by-sides out there. And then they have Fink, and now getting into desert racing, and I know Geyser's pretty big over there. I wouldn't mind possibly setting that up to go tackle Fink one time.
Oh, perfect. Well, I've got another question, and it's back to the whole sponsorship thing. So you've been in motocross, and we talked stadium trucks before, trophy truck, the Hoonigans stuff. Do you have folks that stick with you? Like, how does that work when you're in different sports? Do you have some sponsors that only support you in certain sports and then some that only support in other ones?
Yeah, I do. And it's kind of been a juggle of mine having to figure that out, because I do so much. I go from motocross to a side-by-side to a rally car to a trophy truck. And some of these things I'm a hired driver, and then some of these things are my personal endeavors. So how I've kind of learned works the best for what I'm tackling is I have my personal sponsorships, and that goes on my personal cars at home, my razor, my motorcycles, and anything that I do personally or own personally. And then I have the sponsors that come with me being a hired driver. So basically I am on a team and I represent their sponsors. And then I still, I've worked out at something with RPM, which is pretty cool. And I have some of my personal sponsors still on my sleeve in the truck. But, for instance, I run different tire companies or different wheel companies from my personal to team sponsors. So it is a juggling act. And, it's just making sure there's no conflicts and everyone's okay with it all. And, it's just working with everyone and making those lines kind of as clear as possible.
Mm-hmm. No, that's good. Especially when you do have, say, like a competitive company, from one discipline to another discipline, like you're saying. So it sounds like you're able to work that out with them and just make it clear, hey, with this sport, I run this tire. With this sport, I run this tire, whatever it may be.
Exactly. That's it. That's exactly it. And of course, like I try to strive for the same sponsors through everything, because it does make it easier and it benefits me and it benefits them more. Because, then I can give them kudos everywhere possible I can. But definitely it's a juggling act. But the personal stuff it's been pretty good, because that's like where my roots are, side by sides. And then I incorporate like pre-running for the 250. I use my personal razor to go pre-running, and then I hop in the race truck for race day.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Never thought about it that way. Good stuff. Well, hey, it looks like yeah, right, definitely. Looks like Francisco has a question too around your goals in Baja.
My goals in Baja, my short-term goals would be I want to finish the next few races until the end of the series in a podium spot. And with that just comes finishing races. Like, me and Erica didn't give up at the 250, and we just finished to get points. And hopefully by the end that all adds up, and hopefully we get a win or a championship as well. And then my long-term goal is I want to be the first female to win a trophy truck race.
There you go. Okay, that sounds good. Well, actually, this question coming from Jimmy Moore at Bold Racing probably links in pretty closely with what you're just saying, actually. What do companies look for, championships or big race wins?
That's a really good question, because growing up in motocross, we've always said, hey, people don't remember races, they remember championships. Mm-hmm. And I 100% believe in that, but I've started picking and choosing in UTV series this last year, because, I get so busy with all the things I do that I like to pick and choose the one things that I really look forward to racing my UTV in, for instance. And we can do a whole marketing plan around it. We can do the correct media to where it benefits sponsors. And so I think if you execute it the right way, big race wins are definitely beneficial. But in the end, I think championships are always the best.
Yeah. Awesome. Looks like I think there was another one up here too that I may have missed. Okay, Jimmy Moore Jr. No surprise, he co-dogs it right now for his dad in Bold Racing. So, what do you look for in a good co-driver?
I think communication is key. Having a good co-driver, that is something. Me and Erica, she knows when I get excited. She knows when she needs to be calm, and we work together as a team. Communication is everything, and definitely being clear in terms and what you like and what she doesn't like, or vice versa. You got to voice your opinion, and you got to tell them the way you feel is best for you. And just have those lines clear. Once again, it comes down to being on the same terms. Like, we always, no matter what, will never give up. And that's something I can count on her always being right by my side in a race situation. And so that's pretty cool, just having that relationship and communication and just knowing each other.
Yeah, for people who want to know more about Erica, she was also on this show, episode 35. She talked all about that. One of the things I am curious about with the co-driver thing is, like, what if one of you gets upset? I mean, it's got to happen, right? You're in the car for 15 hours or whatever together. Well, I don't know. How do you handle conflict when you're just trying to win a race?
Oh, I'm giggling inside just hearing that, because Erica, she was here right now. She would love it. She always does this. She was like, oh, if you really don't even want to hear it, just unplug. But we were in Africa.
That's awesome.
We were there for 9 days. We had to learn. That's a long time to be with someone. So we learned hand signals with each other, because sometimes our radios or something broke, or you can't count on it. So we also go off of hand signals if it needed. But we know each other pretty well, so we each get quiet. If something's like, if we're upset or we're a little frustrated or something, we just kind of quiet out, or it's okay to unplug. Like, no hard feelings. It's just, let's go here and just go off of hand signals for a little bit, and it works.
Yeah, definitely. So I think I have probably another question. It's around future looking. That's one thing I talk a lot about is what's next. So, I mean, what's on your horizon, maybe 2018 and beyond?
So this year, obviously, and I hope for a long time in the future, my goal is Baja. Doing the Score International Series with RPM Off-Road is my number one priority. And I feel like I've bounced around a lot the last 2 years with all types of new disciplines and trying out all these new things that I really want to focus on one thing and climb the ranks again and earn my stripes and make it to the top and be a fierce competitor and always in the potential championship, spot. And so that's my main goal right now. And I think that's a long-term goal with this team, with RPM. And so that's my main priority. But of course, when the schedule lets me do more, there's always so much in the works. And I don't know, there's potential in the rally car stuff still right now. And I'll always ride and drive my dirt bike and side-by-side and hop around and do races when I can. So it's just really the desert is my main focus. And then the rally stuff will probably be second soon. And then just races that arise as they come.
There's somebody else just gave you a little suggestion on here, NASCAR. There you go.
NASCAR. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about NASCAR. I'm a dirt girl. I can honestly say I'm a dirt girl. I love the rally car stuff because they're pretty aggressive, but I don't know. NASCAR's never totally appealed to me, but I'd love to try it, and you never know. I could be persuaded differently.
Awesome. And then Chris is asking about your mechanic skills.
Just change a tire. No, I actually, that's one thing I take a lot of pride in. Almost every vehicle or motorcycle I've driven or ridden, I can say I know almost all the mechanics through it. I build most of my own vehicles besides the fabrication parts. And before a race, you should have seen me before King of the Hammers this year. I was in the garage most of the time by myself and just friends coming over here and there to help. And I'm going to town, and I need to document that stuff more because a lot of people don't see that, and they kind of just, you just hop in and drive, and it's like, no, it's never the case. But it just, I live in the garage. Like right now, definitely. I don't have my nails done for a reason.
Right. That's awesome. Well, hey, Josh Moore's got another question for you, too. What does it take to get a factory sponsorship in UTVs? Woo.
A factory sponsorship in UTVs, I think that goes for anything. It's making that connection is number one to the right person, building the trust with them, showing them why they should invest in you and why you can give them something back for their investment. I over the years have been involved with Kawasaki on a factory level, and I'm excited to be doing a deal with Polaris Razor. And so it's just building that trust and working hard for it. Once you get it, doesn't mean, that's done. It's like, okay, now the hard work begins, and we show them what we can do for them as well as the results.
Definitely. Well, it looks like Raphael said he saw you working in the desert before, so you know how to work on your vehicles.
Yeah.
Confirmation right
Rafi,
there.
Hi, Rafi. He was down there pre-running with us. He's an amazing navigator. He's been with RPM Off-Road for a very long time. And so thank you, Rafi, for showing us around and helping us out down there.
You'll probably never see me working in the desert. I'll just be standing around like, I don't know what to do. That'd be me, losing my mind.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Well, I don't know, Sarah, do you have any just last-minute tips or advice before we close things out?
Just always have fun. Sometimes it's about the journey. It's about the adventure. And if you're having fun, usually results come with it. And, it's never easy, but that's what makes it rewarding in the end. So, just have a good time and enjoy the journey.
Awesome. Well, hey, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on here. If people, again, want to go back and hear more about Sara's story, she was on episode 12. Other than that, though, we're all done, so we're going to close things out.
Yeah.
Have fun and ride safe.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed that episode. We're going to keep the live versions coming. Next up is George Hamill, April 23rd. Head over to our Facebook page. Give us a follow. And watch out for those events. You can join live and you can ask your own questions right then and there. If you're getting value out of this show, please subscribe. That way you don't miss any of our upcoming guests. Like I said in the intro, we got Blair Morgan coming up. We got Brett Q coming up. George Hamill again. We'll release that audio version on the show. And it's going to be good stuff. So the other thing too, love to get your feedback. Head over to iTunes. Leave a rating and review. It helps the show, honestly. So if you're looking for ways to help promote this show, that's one of the best ways to do it, is leave a rating and review. Otherwise, I do have a giveaway contest going on there. So if you leave a review, just put a hashtag swag there. Once I hit 20 reviews, I will choose a winner. And that's it for today. Have fun and ride safe.